I cannot, in good conscience, support any of the Democratic establishment in the coming November elections. Just so that you know, I made a contribution about an hour or so ago to the Bernie Sanders campaign, and Bernie is supporting several progressive Democratic candidates, including in those candidates that Bernie Sanders is actively supporting is Tim Canova. He is running in a primary against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. We need to get Debbie Wasserman Schultz out of here, along with a whole lot of the other establishment Democrats. And that is going to be the only way that we are going to be able to accomplish the change that Bernie Sanders is talking about. Excuse me. I'm going to play a clip from, of all places, Fox News, and it's going to confirm a lot of the things that Bernie Sanders was saying.
Committed to doing my part, more than my part. But Senator Sanders has to do his part.
We're going to continue to fight for every last vote until June 14th, and then we're going to take our fight into the convention.
Hillary Clinton calling on Bernie Sanders to help unify the Democratic Party, while Sanders says he's going to campaign aggressively in the final stretch all the way to June 7th. We're back now with the panel. Fox News has offered to host a Democratic debate in California. Bernie Sanders has said yes. To go to our social media question from Facebook, we asked, wouldn't it be to her advantage to accept? Andrew Land writes, quote, she says the nomination is already hers. Why would she risk the chance that she would let any truthful statements slip out during a debate? Robert Hernandez tells us on Twitter, no reason for Hillary to debate. Bernie is done. Why isn't she agreeing to this debate, Juan?
Well, Robert, especially to that second one that Bernie's done, you got a point. I don't see how Bernie can possibly claim the nomination at this point. Hillary Clinton's like within 90 delegates of outright winning. But here's the point. This is pay-per-view material. This is like a great matchup that would appeal to, guess what, Bernie Sanders supporters who are still kind of, you know, a little uneasy with Hillary, to independents, Republicans, so the general electorate, if she's looking toward going up against Donald Trump, what an opportunity for a large audience right before California. I think it's a winner for her. Again, you know, you think about Donald Trump and this tremendous media presence. This is an opportunity for Hillary to take advantage of the moment before she has to go against Trump.
Who do you think it plays to better, Michael, Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders? I mean, because if she trips with a week to go until California.
Right, and obviously she doesn't want to have a divisive debate with Bernie Sanders, but I agree with Juan, she should do it, and sometimes it's unfortunate when the shoe's on the other foot. In May of 2008, Hillary Clinton was saying, Barack Obama needs to agree to do a debate with me. She suggested maybe we should have a 90-minute Lincoln-Douglas-style debate between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. That was when, obviously, Barack Obama was the front runner, so I think maybe Fox News could hold a 90-minute Lincoln-Douglas debate between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton.
Wouldn't that be fun? And Kirsten, what's going on with Bernie Sanders and Debbie Wasserman Schultz?
Okay, before we get there, I disagree with the Fox guys. If I am in the Clinton camp, which I'm not, Hillary Clinton is playing prevent defense. At this point, she doesn't need to debate. She is going to be able to acquire significant delegates, or the sufficient number of delegates, in order to obtain the nomination. So she doesn't believe that she needs to debate, even though she did promise a fourth debate on top of the 4 original debates, and the last one to take place in California. She is not going to keep her word. There is no way in this world or the next that she is going to get on the stage and debate with Bernie Sanders. So, you know, that being said, you know, her best move really is not to keep her word as far as debates are concerned. concerned. Now, let's get to the Debbie Wasserman Schultz piece.
He says he's going to support her opponent, Tim Canova, in the August 30th primary, and says if he becomes president, he'll do a Donald Trump and say, you're fired.
Yeah, well, this isn't really a surprise. He's been at odds with Debbie Wasserman Schultz pretty much since the beginning of this primary because he and his supporters have accused the DNC of picking sides, of setting up the debates in a way to favor Hillary Clinton, having them on weekends or holidays where nobody's going to watch the debates to try to minimize the exposure that Bernie Sanders gets. And so, well, I don't think so. I've written a column criticizing her and criticizing the DNC for this, and the Bernie Sanders campaign has said, in particular, she's the problem, that they have found working with the DNC in general to be an okay experience, but she has clearly picked her horse and has been backing that horse and trying to pretend that she's sort of a, being a fair, arbiter of the situation, and she's not.
Yeah, Van Jones, Democratic activist, former White House Green Jobs czar, said that he's, quote, ashamed of Debbie Wasserman Schultz and wishes that Reince Priebus was running the DNC, Brett.
Well, it's an interesting contrast between the two of them, because there's been a lot of criticism of Priebus for being too susceptible to Trump and basically, helping to pave the way for him. I think Priebus has basically been neutral. Debbie Wasserman Schultz has not been neutral. She has clearly been for Hillary, although she insists publicly that she's neutral. And so Sanders, I think, has a legitimate gripe, perhaps. And of course, the delegate rules, which she's a symbol, I guess, certainly favor Hillary because of the superdelegate presence, which is so important in the Democratic race. So, my sense about it is that there's kind of a double standard here at work. Priebus gets criticized for doing what everybody wishes Debbie Wasserman Schultz was doing on the Democratic side.
Let's look back at what happened last Saturday in the Nevada conviction.
Now, this is the portion that ticked me off. It's going to take Fox News to confirm what Bernie Sanders said, which was there was no actual violence at that Nevada state convention, and there wasn't even chair throwing at the convention. But MSNBC in particular brings on all of these guests, and every last one of them has stated that there was actual violence at that convention, at the Democratic convention, and that there was chair throwing, etc. Now, no one denies the fact that people were calling up the Nevada Democratic State Party head and saying nasty things, in a couple of cases threatening things. Nobody is denying that that happened. But as far as the the convention itself, there was not one single punch thrown. Nobody was hassled other than verbally, and there were no chairs thrown. Now, security being what security is, they always want to take a conservative point of view as far as protecting their people, and the security indicated that they were afraid. They didn't say that they had to actually step out there and defend the people that they were protecting. They just indicated that they were afraid. But then you had all of these various parties who indicated that they saw chairs being thrown, and that was a straight out lie. You had Barbara Boxer, who claimed she saw chairs thrown. On the AM Joy Reid show on Saturday morning, you had various people that claim that they spoke to, i.e. eyewitnesses, who claimed that chairs were thrown, and that was a load of crap. There were no chairs thrown. There's no video of any chairs being thrown. You had various people who didn't get a lot of media coverage that confirmed that there were no chairs thrown. Nina Turner was one of the people that was at that particular convention, and she stated that she did not see a single instance of violence. And she also stated that when she saw a chair, one chair picked up, a person went over to the person who had picked up the chair told them to put the chair down, and the chair was put down. Okay, so not just to take my word for it, but you're going to have Kristen Power of Fox News confirm the fact that there was no violence at that convention and there were no chairs thrown. But because the Democratic establishment is in the tank for Hillary Clinton, you're getting all of this negative feedback against Bernie Sanders, basically trying to push him out of the primary process, and also basically to have his supporters viewed in a dim light. Now, the last time I looked, this is a democracy, and people have the right to voice their opinions. And there is no requirement that the opinions voiced be in a calm and soothing manner. When you feel fervently about the things that you feel strongly about, you got the right to raise your voice, yell, scream, raise signs, do whatever. And if the other side doesn't like it, well, that's too damn bad. So anyway, here's the portion of the Fox coverage that confirmed what Bernie Sanders was saying as far as there not being any violence and no chairs being thrown.
Where Bernie Sanders supporters thought that they were being treated unfairly, they started throwing chairs. They were threatening the they were threatening the Democrat. They always threaten the Republican. They were threatening the Democratic Nevada chair. If this had been Trump supporters doing this, Juan, what would the narrative in the media have been?
Oh, well, it would have been, I think, even larger, but it's not to say that this was ignored. In fact, this has gotten a lot of attention.
It wasn't ignored, but I remember reading one article that says Bernie Sanders supporters, send a message to the Democratic Party.
Well, this is the heart and soul of the matter. I know Tad Devine, who's running Sanders' campaign, says he does not like the idea that people talk about the violence at the Nevada event so largely, and even the threats against the Democratic Party chair in Nevada as a result. But they did happen, and I think that...
See, and that's the whole point. See, everybody is pushing the violence did happen. There was no violence that happened. There was no chair throwing that happened. And the moderator here has mentioned chair throwing, which there wasn't any, and Juan Williams is signing off on what he just said, and he doesn't know what he's talking about.
There's a sense among Democrats in large, and it's interesting to me, even on left-leaning Democrats, that Sanders at this point is stoking grievance and anger against the party. We heard Kirsten talking a moment ago about anger at Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Obviously, if you're trying to unify the Democrats in the way that you discussed the Republicans not trying to unify behind Trump, this is a big problem, and that's why at this moment you see left-leaning organizations and media outlets, Mother Jones and the like, suddenly saying, hey, maybe Bernie's taking this a little too far, and it's about Bernie and not about defeating Donald Trump.
But Michael, if this is being treated more like a family spat in the media at large, and if this was Donald Trump supporters who were doing it, don't you think we'd see articles about Donald Trump being dangerous and stoking violence and whatever else?
Oh, of course, and nobody's surprised by a double standard in the media, but what I think it shows is that the anti-incumbent, anti-establishment...
See, the problem with these two statements is Bernie Sanders is not stoking violence, and there wasn't any violence. There was a lot of yelling and screaming, but there was no actual violence. And these guys keep pushing the point of violence. There wasn't any. He has condemned the people for actually not allowing Barbara Boxer to speak. He obviously condemned all of the threats that were made to the Nevada Democratic state chair, which was the right thing to do. But at the same time, he had to support his guys, and I agree with that 100%. If you feel that you were wrong, you need to open your mouth and say something, and that's exactly what happened at that conference.
Sense that you saw in the Republican primary is every bit as much there on the Democratic side. It's there amongst independents, and it's why Hillary Clinton is almost the last person on the face of the planet you would want to put forth in this environment.
He's absolutely right.
somebody whose entire professional career has been about enriching herself and her friends through her public service. You look what's going on the Clinton Foundation. We're in an anti-incumbent, anti-establishment moment, and you basically found the most clearly establishment. A managing director at Goldman Sachs said that when she talks to us, she sounds like she's a managing director here at the company. You couldn't find a worse person for this moment than Hillary Clinton, and she's the one the Democrats are likely to put up.
So there's an alternative that's out there. Gary Johnson, former New Mexico governor, a recent Fox News poll, he polled 10%.
That was amazing.
Yeah, 42 for Donald Trump, 39 for Hillary Clinton, 10%. He polls evenly, Kirsten, it seems, from both parties. Could he potentially be a player here?
Well, I mean, that is a surprise, but also if he's polling equally, then he's less of a threat. It's usually these third-party candidates become a problem when they start to pull from one party
He would
over
have
the
to
other.
be 15, I think, to get into the debates. That's when he becomes the player.
Yeah, but I want to say about this Bernie Sanders stuff, actually, some of this, I think it's been exaggerated, and well, I guess we're out of time, but
No, we're not.
I was going to say, yeah, I mean, Snopes actually looked at it, and nobody threw any chairs, and in fact, somebody picked up a chair and put it down, and I think a lot of, actually, I think the media has been pretty hard on them and have exaggerated what has happened. I think that they were upset and they were angry, but nobody was in any danger. I mean, they're not mail-ins.
Thank you, Fox News, for confirming what Bernie said, and hopefully this will be the end of that false narrative. Now, again, we had an opportunity to elect people like Nina Turner in the state of Ohio. You had an opportunity to elect a true progressive, Donna Edwards, for Senate in the state of Maryland. But the machine, and by the machine I mean the establishment, did not want a true progressive to be elected. They wanted someone that was well entrenched in the establishment. And black people went along with that, because if the black people in Baltimore had backed Donna Edwards, especially the black women, had backed Donna Edwards the way that they should have, Donna Edwards would become only the second black female representative to be elected to the Senate. Now, there will be another black representative, female, elected to the Senate, and she's going to come out of California. She's going to take Barbara Boxer's seat, who's retiring. Her name is Harris, and she's in a fight right now with a Hispanic member of the House of Representatives, who is also a member of the establishment, but her name is Kamala Harris. She's got all of her ducks in a row, so it looks like she's going to make it. But again, if we want to get something done, we got to get all these old farts out of the House of Representatives and out of the Senate. We need new, fresh blood to come in there that's going to not have allegiances to all of these special interest groups, so that hopefully we can get things accomplished that are going to benefit the people. Excuse me, not benefit the establishment and keep things as they are. So I again support all of the young guns that are trying to get in here and knock out these incumbents, so that hopefully the next 4 years we're able to get things accomplished. Now, I am not under the false illusion that all of a sudden major changes are going to take place immediately. That's not going to happen, because in my opinion, although the Senate is probably going to flip, I believe that the House of Representatives is still going to remain in Republican hands, but I believe that that will change in 2018, especially given the large numbers of Hispanics that are entering the voting rolls.